Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are unpacking a classic story that absolutely nails the devastating cost of the whole fake it till you make it mentality. We're diving into Guy de Maupassant's famous tale, The Necklace, translated by Pernundu Dassadar, and we're going to calculate the exact real-world mathematical and emotional toll of a single night of vanity. So let's just jump right into it with the big question. What is the actual, literal price tag of pretending to be something you're not? Because as we'll see, the cost isn't just a temporary hit to your wallet, it can completely alter the entire trajectory of your life. All right, part one, the illusion of grandeur. To really understand the sheer magnitude of this story, we've got to talk about our protagonist, Mathilde Loisel, and her deep dissatisfaction. Let's be real, she has champagne taste on a tap water budget. She's married to a modest clerk, living in a pretty drab apartment, and eating off 3-day-old table clocks. But in her mind, she's strolling through antique gardens, draped in heavy silks and commanding the attention of high society. She truly believes she was born for luxury, but feels totally trapped in a working-class reality. Now, to grasp the stakes of the disaster that's coming, we need to talk about the currency of her impending doom, the franc. It was the national currency of France up until 2002. Keep this in the back of your mind, because as the numbers in our story start to escalate, the franc essentially becomes a literal ticking time bomb. Which brings us to section 2, an expensive invitation. The catalyst for the whole mess happens when her husband comes home super excited with an exclusive invitation to the Ministry of Education ball. But instead of being thrilled, Mathilde is just miserable. Why? Because she has nothing rich to wear. She breaks down and tearfully demands exactly 400 francs for a dress, just so she won't look completely out of place next to all the wealthy wives. And the tragic irony here is her husband's immediate sacrifice. He had actually been secretly saving up exactly 400 francs to buy a hunting gun for a summer trip with his friends. But without a second of hesitation, he just gives up his own modest dream to fund her vanity and buy that ball gown. Moving on to section 3, the borrowed diamonds. So the ball is getting closer, and a dress alone just isn't cutting it for Mathilde. She goes to her wealthy childhood friend, Jean, who generously opens up her jewelry box and basically says, take your pick. Mathilde completely ignores the pearls and the gold and zeroes in on this stunning diamond necklace sitting right there in a black satin box. With this borrowed treasure around her neck, her transformation is complete. She finally feels like she belongs in high society. And you know what? At the ball, she actually is the absolute center of attention. It's a massive triumph. But that brings us to section 4. The catastrophic loss. The absolute peak of her life is over in a flash, and things fall apart incredibly fast. Just track the timeline of this night with me. At midnight, she is living her ultimate fantasy, totally triumphant. By 4 a.m., she's fleeing the party in a freezing, shabby cab just to hide her cheap everyday shawl from the rich women in their furs. By 7 a.m., her poor husband returns from a frantic, desperate search through the streets, completely empty-handed. And by 10 a.m., as he leaves for the police station and his office, the doomed realization officially sets in. The diamond necklace is gone. After days of absolutely hopeless searching, they miraculously find a matching replacement necklace at the Palais Royal. But the price? An unfathomable 36,000 francs. I mean, even after haggling it down from 40,000, that is a completely life-destroying sum of money for a clerk. So how on earth do you pay for that? Well, her husband had exactly 18,000 francs left to him from his father's inheritance. Exactly half the amount. For the other half, he signs absolutely ruinous notes, deals with loan sharks, and effectively torches their entire financial future. They manage to buy the replacement necklace and hand it back to an unsuspecting Jean, who doesn't even open the box to check it. All right, section 5, a decade of ruin. With this crushing, massive debt now chained to them and the fake illusion successfully maintained, the real punishment begins. We are talking about 10 years, a full decade of unrelenting, grinding manual labor just to pay off those high-interest loans. Think about how drastically her life changes. She has to fire her maid immediately. They move into a tiny, cramped garret under the roof. She's suddenly washing greasy pots and pans, hauling heavy buckets of water up the stairs every single morning, and haggling for literal pennies at the local market. Meanwhile, her husband is working late into the night copying accounts. Just picture that. Giving up your youth, your comfort, and your delicate beauty to become this hardened, loud, exhausted shadow of yourself, all to pay for one single night of fake glory. And that leads us to Section 6, the ultimate irony. After 10 agonizing years, the debt, every single franc of it, including the exorbitant interest, is finally cleared. Mathilde is taking a rare Sunday walk at the Champs-Élysées, feeling a weird sense of pride for having actually survived and paid off this massive secret debt. She spots her old friend, Jean, who still looks beautiful and youthful. Mathilde decides, you know what? I'm going to tell her. I'm going to explain why I look so terribly aged. So she walks up to her, confesses that she lost the original necklace, bought a replacement, and spent the last decade paying it off. She finishes her confession, probably expecting a little bit of shock, maybe some sympathy or closure. Instead, Jean drops a financial revelation that completely shatters reality. Just listen to this and let it sink in. Oh my poor Mathilde. Mine was an imitation. It was worth 500 francs at most. Mathilde sacrificed her youth, her husband's entire inheritance, and a full decade of her life to replace a piece of cheap costume jewelry. A fake. Just like the wealthy lifestyle she was trying so desperately to imitate that night. It is the ultimate tragic twist, right? So I'll leave you with this final thought to ponder. Would Mathilde have lived a much happier, albeit modest life if she had simply had the courage to tell the truth from the very beginning? This explainer really shows us that the irreversible cost of a single lie, especially when born out of sheer vanity, is often infinitely higher than the truth. Thanks so much for joining me. Keep asking questions, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.